Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video. This was just too perfect to not try and record a video now about this. Some of you may have already read the article I wrote earlier today about how bugs are stacking up in the season to really kind of harm things. Now there is some sort of downtime going on, and I've been looking at this screen for, 20 minutes as I do other things. There's some sort of Destiny 1 and Destiny 2 login issue going on. And the common thread this season for me so far is that it is just so hard to play this season and attempt to accomplish the things I want to accomplish. I am not lacking in motivation for things to do, and this is kind of the problem. I very much like all of the actual content of this season. I like the return of Leviathan. I think the public event is fun to a certain degree of having to run it. I like the Sever missions. I think the story content is really good. I like a lot of the new weapons. I like the reprised weapons. I like the dungeon. I like Iron Banner Rift, honestly, when it's working. And I really wanted to get all the new Trials armor sets, the new Trials weapons. And it just seems like this game is throwing up obstacles at every turn. Some of this is bug related, and then some of this is more kind of decisions being made that I do not necessarily agree with. The bug stuff I've kind of covered already, and that is done, that has worked its way through the game in a lot of different ways. So the primary example I gave that I've been discovering is just really weird bugged issues it's a very good idea to have playlist weapons after further resets drop with additional perks. That is something that I really think is very cool, and it makes farming for those with all their random rolls a lot better. But if my goal is to get a very cool new Vanguard bow with incandescent and some other cool perks, that has become extremely difficult because after resets there is some sort of bug going on where the drop rate on those weapons goes way down. There are additional bugs that will start removing perks if you go too far. In terms of PvP, aerial effectiveness is pretty bugged for people who spend a lot of time in the air. I was looking forward to trying to earn the Iron Lord title, but Iron Banner was suffering many bugs during the 1 out of 2 weeks that it was there. There was a rep issue which caused me not to play for half the week, and then they doubled the XP, but there are still non-bug related kind of progress blockers there where the one thing where you have to do specific actions within Iron Banner to earn points doesn't count anything except picking up the spark and dunking it. It doesn't count defenses or revives or anything like that. So that's just a very long term thing that is not working. I really wanted to earn all the new Trials armor, the new weapons, and then they were just you know what, matchmaking is totally screwed this first weekend here. We are going to just match anyone with anyone, and that includes people that are on their 6-0 Lighthouse journey with me and my 0-10 card. So that has made I did get decently far in that because at least the changes to the reward system have made it so even losing a ton you can still get a lot of stuff. But I eventually just became way too exhausted with that, and I had to put it down. I have to put it down until next week, where hopefully that's going to be fixed. But again, it does not seem like there is any sort of guarantee that will actually be fixed, and so the first weekend was just sort of a bust in that regard. And a centipede error. Okay. So that's where we're at now. I don't know what that one is. From PvP to PvE, the problems I have with PvE are mainly kind of just structure based. Again, I think Leviathan coming back is great. I enjoy the stuff associated with that. I do not agree with what they have done for the grind for the seasonal weapons, which is exhausting. I like this activity, but I have run it to death already, and the decision to make everything 5 patterns, I think, was not the lesson to learn from the Witch Queen. I do not think drop rates are remotely where they need to be. It seems to be maybe a 15% drop rate on red frames, but you are looking for 10 different sets of 5 red frames each. The farming sources of these are, again, very, very limited. It is literally do the singular activity to get the haunted weapons, and then sometimes that will drop something that will unlock haunted weapons if you do a sever run. That is it, essentially, other than just manual focusing. And then the opulent weapons, probably one of the worst grinds I've ever seen. The weapons themselves coming back is great, but the idea that you just run around opening chests, and that is the way you were supposed to get these initially, and they literally do not drop from a single enemy kill, is not a good decision, if you ask me, and very much compounds the issues with red frames. There are red frame upgrades you will get as time goes on, or at least you get one guaranteed, focused red frame a week that way. But the current system as it stands, I understand why it's frustrating people to this degree. Like, again, this is kind of a larger issue with crafting where like you just don't feel like you want to just take any of the drops you're getting. All you're looking for is the RNG for red frames, because that will ultimately let you craft your 5 out of 5 with enhanced perks. So if you're going for really specific weapons that you want, pretty much nothing matters until you get those patterns, which is the system they've set up. And they can say that they do not want it to be you must craft everything, but that is the way it feels a lot of the time. And the other issue here is kind of economical and structural, where other than just the drop rates themselves, with the helm upgrades, they have an entire row dedicated to a currency you will constantly have way too much of, whereas the focusing currency is only gotten 5 to 9 energy at a time from the 2 seasonal activities, and it takes just an astonishing amount of grinding if you are trying to remotely focus any reasonable amount of weapons to get to those 5 red frames. It has taken activities I like that should give weapons I like and turned it into a chore where I understand that, like, I am not your average player and I'm grinding more than most, but like I guess I am the prediction for what grinding will feel like a couple weeks from now if you catch up to where I am now, and I am still not remotely close to finishing these frames, and have done a handful, but it is exhausting, and I think there have been some serious errors in judgment in terms of the upgrades for the season, the farming pass for the season, and the currencies and decisions with focusing. It has made the whole process very tiring, even though fundamentally these are activities that are enjoyable and weapons that are good and sought after. Those are not the problem. It is everything else that is the problem. And it's just, I don't really know where this is going to end. Like, maybe when Iron Banner rolls around next time, it'll be fine. Maybe next weekend of Trials is fine. Maybe Anti-Barrier Sidearm is activated tomorrow. But, like, it's just so hard to tell, and it just seems like everywhere I turn, trying to do something that I actually do want to be doing. I do want to chase this weapon. I do want this armor set. Like, there are just countless obstacles always standing in the way of doing that, whether it is just the game being very buggy and increasingly buggy as time goes on, and those bugs taking, they can hotfix something in 2 days sometimes, and then other bugs take weeks, if not months, if not, they are never fixed. And then that combined with kind of economic structural issues about the way you get certain weapons. I would say the best thing about this season, maybe free of most of these issues, is the dungeon itself. Not technically a part of the season because it is sold separately, but I think the dungeon farming system is fun enough to the point where it minimizes some of these other issues, and yet those issues are still there. There are many, many aspects of the dungeons that are buggy and frustrating. The drop rates on dungeon weapons as opposed to armor are really low. Trying to get the 2 weapons you can craft there, the fusion and machine gun, the opulent weapons, seems borderline impossible given the drop rates compounded by the pattern rates. But overall, very cool weapons, and you can get a lot of unique rolls in there, and the dungeon itself is very fun and able to be farmed pretty easily. So that is kind of the most positive thing I think so far about the season. It's just that, like, none of this has to be like this. I mean, maybe it does because technical errors are just sometimes so out of your control. It's just that there are so many stacking on top of each other combined with just a few bad kind of economy decisions that it is really hurting what is otherwise a perfectly like amazing batch of content. Like without all these issues, this would be a truly phenomenal season. Like bringing in a whole new patrol zone, the way they reprised it, these weapons, this dungeon, this story, it's all fantastic. But at every turn, there is some sort of barricade or obstacle being thrown up, be it a bug or some sort of weird decision that does not make any sense. So that is where I'm at. That's where I'm kind of getting frustrated and burned out with the season, because it's like, okay, well, I'm not going to grind for this anymore. I'm going to switch to this grind, and then there's some problem with that grind, and it never ends. So we will see if any of this is mentioned in the 12. That's the other thing is like these issues are brought up once, and then you just don't hear about them for another month. So you have no idea when fixes are on the way, or if they leave and remember these issues exist. It's a very strange situation a lot of the time. So I don't know what's going on today. Clearly something's happening. So I guess I'm not playing today. I'll go do something else. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with the bugs, with the decisions made this season, and we will see if things improve as time goes on here. So thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Take care.